Hey guys, welcome back to the Syntonic Tech Podcast. This is Joe, Andrew, and Caleb coming at you live from the basement of the Syntonic headquarters.
Just roll with it.
Yeah, we are rolling with it. So today we're going to be looking at a couple of different things. We got the beta out for iOS now. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Amazon S3 outage. What's the third one? What else are we doing? Talking about
GTX 1080
GTX 1080 Ti.
Ryzen launch and the disappointing benchmarks that came about.
Yep. And then we're also going to go in to talk a little bit about some of the Atom plugins that we favor.
Yeah.
Go into detail about each of those, our top 10 list.
Yeah, so like Joe mentioned, the iOS beta for Firestream is now out. And it's not you can go to firestream.herokuapp.com right here and just sign up so you can get access in test flight if you're on an iOS device.
It's a small beta right now. Half of the features are missing, but that's all right. It's out
coming.
there. It's going.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the news. So last week, there was a huge issue with S3.
Yep.
So basically, one guy, there was a typo when he was like doing some commands on the
One
CLI.
former Amazon employee.
Did he get fired?
No, I actually asked. I don't think he did.
Oh. That would suck.
Yeah.
And basically, it disrupted a ton of S3 servers on the East Coast. Stuff
Many
like
services stopped working.
Trello was down. I think a couple Atlassian.
Even Amazon's app, whenever I was checking my recent orders, those stopped working.
Any images that were on like S3.
Yeah, those would come up blank.
The site Is It Down was down.
Mhm.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And it was just by one guy. But Amazon have come out and they've said, obviously this was an issue, and they're gonna add some more redundancies in to try and prevent it from happening again.
One guy shouldn't be able to break an entire region of servers with a typo. Something's wrong there.
Yeah.
Stuff happens though, so that's all right. Moving on, the 1080 Ti by NVIDIA got announced like on the 28th of February, and it looks pretty sweet. They say that it's got a 35% boost from the 1080.
And it's better than the Titan XP, which usually costs $1,200.
They haven't said anything like how much better it is, and there's no benchmarks that I've seen. But yeah, it's way lower price. $700.
And it also is able to achieve better scores, from what they've said, with a gig less of frame buffer.
Yeah.
Which they mentioned it in their talk about how they've improved the efficiency of the cards.
Yeah, with like tile caching and a bunch of buzzwords that they kind of threw out there that don't mean a lot to us, but
it's still cool.
Maybe if you're into like CUDA programming, then you could make use of some of their new features on Pascal. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's no longer a rumor. It's official.
People were waiting for a long time.
They had to do something, I think, to try to counteract the Ryzen
and Vega coming out soon.
Yeah.
From AMD. And it's available for sale this week. I think probably tomorrow.
Oh, also, speaking of the GDC, AMD's talk was a little disappointing with they said they're going to have some spicy announcement.
Oh, boy.
And all it was just announcing Vega officially instead of actually revealing anything about it.
Yeah. Still waiting on those benchmarks, AMD. Come on. Next thing is Ryzen came out. You can buy it now. There's reviews out.
Real benchmarks.
Yeah, real benchmarks, finally. So this little graph is... Okay, AMD was basically kind of touting Ryzen as going up against the Intel i7-6900K, which is that crazy $1,000 CPU. And it beats it in pretty much every way for being like half the cost, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
The thing people are disappointed about, and this is, I don't know, not the biggest deal, is that it doesn't have as good of a gaming performance as people wanted, and that's to be expected because it doesn't have as high clock speeds and stuff like that.
And it's not targeting a gaming card.
Right.
The gaming card from Intel is going to be the 6700K.
Yeah, or
7700.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's still usable. But we're gonna get into a couple benchmarks.
If people actually start adopting this as their server card or server chip instead of other ones, and that
it's so cheap, or just for like professionals that are really into media creation, because the benchmarks on like multi-threaded workloads for Ryzen are pretty insane. Just like the amount of work they can get done with eight cores and 16 threads now, for being pretty affordable. So here you can see some of the gaming benchmarks, and kind of across the board, this is at their stock clock speeds for all these CPUs, and then at 1080p. So the 1800X, which is the $500 offering from Ryzen, is falling a little bit short behind the other ones in pretty much all the games that they tested here, which is to be expected. But when you come to something like 4K, it's going to be GPU bound anyway. So it's kind of harder to test. So this is pretty much the best they can do. But then we can get into some of the other benchmarks, like Cinebench. Obviously, the 1800X is going to have a huge markup from the 7700K, just because it has double the threads. So it really depends on what you want to do with your computer. If you're just building a computer for games, I would say stick with the 7700K. Maybe if it's like a lower end kind of budget build, go with wait for the Ryzen 5 or even 3 when that comes out later this year.
Even the 770 or 7700K might be overkill for games anyways.
That's true. That's true.
You could get away with
76,
the i5
yeah,
just fine.
Or even the Skylake, if you can find it on sale somewhere.
Yeah.
Because the 6000 series to 7000 series wasn't that crazy of a boost. But yeah, the single-threaded performance of Ryzen is a little bit disappointing compared to like the 7700K, and
compared to what people were expecting before benchmarks came out.
There was just a bit too much hype, I think. But for what it is and for how much it costs, I think it's awesome, and it's hopefully gonna get a little
spark some competition.
With Intel. We can hope for that. Alright, so next we're going to get into our top 10 list of our favorite Atom plugins. If you're not familiar with it, Atom is a great code editor / kind of IDE that a lot of people are using nowadays for web development and just development across the board. Really user friendly, and it has support for like a ton of plugins, which is awesome. So we're going to go down the list. First one is Doc Blocker, and basically what that does is generates like block comments for functions. So you can do their shortcut, it's like /*, and generate a comment like this. So if you have a function, let's just say you're doing JavaScript, you've got a function that can take like 2 parameters, and you go above it, it'll go ahead and actually generate your documentation for it. You can just fill it in as you need.
What's the name of that standard? I forget the standard of that documentation, but it follows the standard that's been set for documentation.
Yeah, so pretty nice little plugin there. Next is pretty infamous if you're familiar with Atom. I think everybody pretty much uses it. File icons, and it does what it says. It just adds icons to your files, which can be handy. Just get
you can
to know what you're
what
looking
it is
at
faster.
Yeah, just out of the corner of your eye, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they have support for like a ton of different file types, so that's really, really nice to have in any project. Next is linter, and specifically I use the ESLinter component for that, but people have made a bunch of different linters for different languages. And basically what it does is it shows up warnings for like JavaScript or whatever, to make sure that you're following good coding practices, make sure you have all like consistent tabs or spaces in your files, stuff like that. It's really, really handy if you're starting a new project.
It keeps you out of the browser.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah, so you just install ESLint for that, and then you can get the linter plugin and set up your configuration to be however you want. They have like, specifically for the ESLint for JavaScript, they have different coding standards. Like Google has one that you can just model all yours after, which is really, really nice to do.
And that's good because it'll keep all the code consistent.
Yeah, across
everything. No matter who's working on it,
right.
You can all keep it the same, which is nice.
The next one is going to be nice for any of you that are familiar with Sublime text editor. Minimap. So basically what it does is gives you the same thing that you have in Sublime Text. You got this little code window thing that you can scroll and see where everything is. Little neat thing, just quality of life. If you got a huge file, you can just scroll really easily.
Yeah, and you can see how far down you are in the file.
Yep.
Just find things faster.
Yep. Nice function. Next, we've got pigments. So basically, let me see if I can demo this. If you have like a CSS file or something like that, and you type in a hex code, it's going to show what the actual color of the hex code is in the editor. I don't know if I have it enabled. It's supposed to show this as a white color.
Maybe
take a word on it.
Maybe I broke it. I'm not lying, it exists.
Does it only do CSS? Does it do SAS or CSS? It does CSS.
It's supposed to do it. Well, maybe this isn't that great. It works before, I swear. Alright, let's just move on. Next up, we have SAS autocompile. If you guys use SAS in any projects as kind of an addition to CSS, this will make it so whenever you have a SAS file and you save it, it'll generate your like minified CSS file for you automatically, and it'll pretty much just do that on its own whenever you save it. That's pretty nice.
It's nice if you're not using something. I think Ruby is really big on SAS, and they have their build which automatically generates the SAS.
Yeah.
But for any other project, this comes in handy. I think Angular 2 now does that as well. If you build, it might convert SAS to CSS.
That's pretty nice.
The fact that the text editor does it for you is nice.
Yeah, yeah. Next up, we've got sync settings. And basically what this does is if you're working on multiple workstations, you got like a desktop and a laptop, and you have Atom on both, this will let you keep your plugins synchronized across all your computers. So you can just download the plugin, and then you have to like create a gist on GitHub with like a key that'll like identify your installations, and it'll just keep it synced up. You can like back up and restore from different computers, different backups. That's pretty nice to make sure you have like a consistent workflow across the board on whatever you're working on. Next we have Atom Beautify, and this is a really nice plugin. So basically it just lets you beautify your files, make sure that the formatting is good. Let's see, you can just do that, and it'll make sure that everything's nice and consistent.
Which this kind of goes hand in hand with the linter, with just keeping consistent code throughout all of your files.
Yep. Next up, we've got Platform IO IDE Terminal, and that's what you can see right here. So basically, this lets you just create terminals inside of Atom, so you can do stuff on the command line without actually like bringing up terminal or something else. So you can bring up a bunch of different ones and color code them through here, and then you can just do your normal commands like you're in a terminal. Really, really nice, just for kind of streamlining development all in one place. And last but not least is one of my new favorite plugins. Caleb is not a fan.
Probably the most useless one.
No, it's pretty good. So basically, it's called Overscroll, and what it lets you do is at the bottom of a file, you can just scroll past the bottom by like 50 lines. And the reason I like this is because if you didn't have this, you'd be stuck like right here. So if you wanted to like look at this code at the bottom of the file, you kind of have to. You gotta look at it. Like
angle down.
You gotta angle your head down.
Or put extra lines beneath them.
Yeah, or like put a bunch of trailing line breaks. Not anymore. Not with Overscroll. You can just scroll past it. It's pretty great.
Useful.
No, I think it's pretty great. That does it for our top 10 list. of add-in plugins. And that actually does it for our podcast today.
Short one today.
Short one today.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
See you.